Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another stream. Something a bit different today. We're going to be doing a session within Simple GTO Trainer. And yeah, Simple GTO Trainer is just a really nice way to basically play through hands using your own sims. So you can use Simple Post Flop for this if you've already run sims in there, or you can use PioSolver as well. So it's pretty good. So that's what we're going to do today. Shout out to Blind for Blind for subscribing 2 months in a row. So yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to play out of position, big blind versus button, 20 big blinds deep. I haven't put all the other positions in. I just think it's unnecessary. We know it's full ring. It's 5.5 bigs in the middle, 18 effective, and this is basically what we're working with. So we're going to play through this, and I'm expecting to make some mistakes and learn from stuff today. And I've chosen out of position because I think it's tougher than playing in position. So we're going to start with a check. I guess what I'm going to do is just play through, and then if there's any real mistakes, we can either pull them up then and have a look at them, or we can just play for like 25 minutes and then do some post drill study. So I'm going to fold here, and as you can see, folding looks good to me. So pat on the back, well done Gazelig, for a good, strong, solid start. Okay, well, we might be playing this one past the flop. So face a small bet here. So the sim set up to be 20% and roughly 50% pot. So I think we always have to continue. I don't think we want to raise. I think we just always go for a call. So I'm going to go for this time. Okay, 98% call. Looks good to me. Four of hearts is an interesting one. So something we've been looking at within Game Changer this month is leading the turn, playing turn out of position after defending the big blind. Now, I think there are going to be some differences between 40 and 20 bigs. So it will be interesting to see here. I'm going to go for a check, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some betting going on here. Okay, yeah. So we're checking 82%, but betting small about 18% of the time. Versus the small bet, I think we have to call again. It's such a small bet, and we would just be massively overfolding if we folded here. So we're going to go for a call again. Okay, looks good, almost 100% call. So just trying to give you my thought process, guys, in terms of the logic behind the decisions. Okay, so we improved to 2-pair. We do have the option to block, to bet half pot, and to jam for just over pot. I think this is a spot where we want to just go for a check and give them a chance to do something. Like, what does our range actually look like here? We're going to have some flush draws and some straight draws because we called a small flop bet and called a small turn bet. So I expect him to play pretty aggressively on this queen. We don't have too many queen X hands. It's kind of like queen X of spades. I'm not sure a hand like king queen floats on the turn. I think it probably folds, but maybe not, actually, thinking about it. It's like one of our best sort of 2 overcard hands. Yeah, pretty interesting spot. But anyway, I think it's going to be a check, very high frequency check. Okay, cool. Yeah, 100% check. And he just goes for a check back with 10-8. So he decides to give up. I guess maybe he bluffs the queen of spades if it landed. I think we had the queen of spades. But okay, cool. So yeah, lots of things to take of that from already. Zuzette on Twitch says, sorry, just tuned in. What's this GTO program called? It's called Simple GTO Trainer. And it allows you to play through your own sims, basically. So you can use Simple Post Flop or Pio, and it uses the engine of those 2 programs, either or, to pull in the hands that you've already run, and then it will just select 2 random hands for both players, and it will play, your opponent will play perfectly. Yeah, we will play somewhat, not perfectly. So yeah, easy check for us here. I don't think we do much leading on this board. It'd be great to see some boards where we do start leading, like low connected boards. I think there's going to be some leading and maybe even some jamming as well. Here with queen deuce, no spade, I think we just have an easy fold. We were correct. Well, we've not lost any EV yet. This is good, but also it's like when I study in this program and I get this and I'm like, I feel pretty good. And then you think, but actually, what have I learned? Because I've learned that I've played pretty well so far, or playing very similar to how the solver would. But in a way, I kind of want to make an absolute blunder so that I can see what I need to do to improve. We just have an easy fold here again. Okay, what's next? Okay, this one could be interesting if we face a small bet. Okay, he goes for a check back. Okay, so I feel like facing a c bet, like in terms of like difficulty, facing a c bet, like knowing what to do versus a c bet, I think is relatively straightforward. And then once it goes check check, knowing like how often to bluff on different cards, I think is it can be quite tough. So what do we want to do? I'm going to go for a check. I don't really know why we'd want to bet here. I guess we can get some ace high and king high hands to fold potentially. So I guess there's that. Ed on YouTube saying good for confidence to get things right. Evening. How's it going? Welcome back to the stream. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's good for the confidence. I think it's something that Tricia and I talk about on the podcast quite a lot. Like, what sort of brings about confidence? And I think there's two things. One is like regular deep runs, right? Or more deep runs than perhaps you've been used to recently, and you get a little bit of confidence, which I don't think is necessarily a good thing, because maybe you just ran well. Doesn't mean that you played well. The other thing is like knowing what to do in lots of different situations, and be sort of developing confidence that way. And that's what I like, because it means that I'm improving and trying to get better. Sandalini on Twitch, please post link to program. If you click on the channel, there should be a simple button. If you click that link, you can get 10% off this program. That's not why I've done this though. I wanted to actually do some study with this today. I think it's fantastic piece of software. But yeah, if you do want 10% off, there's a link in the channel. There's a simple logo button you can just click. I haven't set it up, so I haven't done the command, but I'll try and do that for next time we do this. But yeah, it takes you through, I think, to this program. If it doesn't, you can just then click through to another program, and it keeps my code on there, and you still get 10% off. So okay, I'm gonna go for a check, but wouldn't be surprised. Okay, cool. So it's our first mistake, not a massive EV blunder, like we've only got minus 1.645, but you can see it going for this big geometric sized bet on the turn. So I guess we would want to see what's going on there. So I'm sure that we will make bigger blunders than this, so they're probably going to be more useful. But it would be good to see, like, why do we lead here? 85% of the time. Okay, so as played, we've got quite a few options. Again, we've got a block, half pot, pot, and all in. I'm trying to think about the worst hand we can value bet now. I feel like we probably can value bet a 6. Not sure about 2. So like the wider we go for value, the more we can throw in some bluffs, and then think about what you're trying to get to fold. Ace high and king high, basically, and yeah, that's it. I do think that these spots are the hardest to try and solve, simply because of the how often we get to play these spots, right? It doesn't often go check, 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 and then we have to decide on the river. I think it's like I used to be a teacher, and I used to teach music, and it's very common for kids to get really good at playing like the first 8 bars, but like the last 8 bars would be not very good, because they would whenever they made a mistake, they would go back to the start and play the first 8 bars over and over and over and over again. But when it comes, so something similar happens in poker, where we don't experience these situations time and time again. Our intuition isn't as strong, which is why like we should use software like this to get ourselves into spots and away from like it costing us any money. So yeah, I'm a little bit unsure. I feel like we want to try and bet to get ace high and king high to fold. Sizing wise though, I'm not 100% sure. I think some ace highs will actually call. So I think we want to go probably on the big side to make him, his hero calls with like ace king, ace queen, a little bit more expensive. Having said that, just thinking this through, just think about all the bluffs we could possibly have though. Like, we're going to have a lot of weaker hands than queen high. We're going to have 10 high, 9 high, 8 high, 5 high, 4 high. So if we end up bluffing this hand, maybe this is just like, this ends up being too much. Now you might be thinking, you know, you already came up with a decision as to, you know, what you were doing here ages ago. I like to think things through a little bit more, especially when we haven't got like the 15-second sort of timer to make a decision. So yeah, I'm going to go back. I think I feel like there might be some betting, but I'm going to check because I feel like we're over bluffing. Jack Rag on Twitch saying evening all. Good evening. Okay, I'm going to go for the check. Okay, well, we got there in the end. Check 90%. I guess it's just because we have so many bluffs. He bets 40%, which is the sim is set up to bet 40, 67, and 100 on the river. I think that the shallower you are, I think the smallest bet would be around 40%. But generally speaking, in position, we don't really want to go less than half. I'm just going to fold now. Okay, cool. So he just goes for some value on the river. That was a really interesting hand. I know that we didn't like lose too much in EV, but it was our first EV loss. Okay, I'm going to start with a check on this board. I think his equity is better on this board. We don't have any sets. We have some 2 pairs, obviously. Just going to go for a call. Okay, looks good so far. So 9 completes king 10 and 10-8, which we can have. He only went for a small bet on the flop. So there might be some leading here, I guess. But I'm going to go for a check. Okay, yeah, no leading at all with this hand. And now we have the decision. So he's bet this amount such that he can bet similar size on the river. So the question is, you know, we have 2 options. I mean, folding's out. Like, we're not going to be folding. So calling and jamming look, yeah, both look fine. I think I'm going to go for the jam, unblocking top pair. I think he should be bet calling all of his queen X probably at this stack depth. So yeah, I think I'm going to go for a check jam. He can actually have some combo draws, maybe that bet call as well. So let's see what happens. Okay, cool. Only 78% of the time though. He ends up having ace 10, which calls, so get some nice value there. What I've just done there is like try to sort of home in on results. It's a very common thing to do, and I think we all do it. And it's sort of like look at the exact hand your opponent has rather than thinking about their range, which, you know, I did before we got to this point, but then looked at the exact hand and went, oh yeah, we see he called there. We got some good value, and it was something that we didn't look at. So I think it's important not to always do that. But I think it's a very common thing within poker. Okay, I'm going to go for a check. If we face a big bet here, I don't love it. Okay, so small bet seems fine. I'm going to go for a call. And another check. So king jack again gets there, jack 8. Okay, this now we're getting into dicey territory. So we'll have queen X to continue. We'll have hands like jack 10, jack 9. Like basically pair in a straight draw, or pair in a flush draw as well, like 9x of spades. We might have jack X of spades to continue. Shout out for the follows, guys. Kemper Twitch, thanks for the follow. I missed another one that came in before as well. So we will have all of those hands. So combo draws, pair plus draw, like whether it's pair plus straight draw, pair plus flush draw. I feel like calling here with 10-4 is better than calling with like 10-7 and 10-6, because maybe he bluffs those hands a little bit more frequently. Yeah, honestly, I'm a little bit unsure here, and I think this is good. Like, this is why we study, right? This is why I want to run these spots, because we want to see, like, am I leaking EV by folding here, or am I leaking EV by calling? So I'm going to go for the fold. I think this card is still reasonable for him. Like he bets small, we call. He still has a lot of strong hands here. Our strongest hand is obviously King Jack. We can have Jack 8 as well. We can have some 2 pair. As I said, all of those pair plus draw type hands. I'm going to fold, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of calling. Let's see what happens. Okay, cool. So we lost a little bit of EV. I'm not going to beat myself up over that much about EV lost, but it's clear. Yeah, it's almost like that. You look at it and you think, I'm not entirely sure. So it probably means it's going to be close. If you're like really sure, like, yeah, I don't know, you've got, I'm trying to think, like 5 deuce of clubs here or something like that, then you're probably supposed to fold and you can be more confident in folding. But yeah, here I think, yeah, it's much, much closer. But yeah, we didn't lose too much. I'm pretty happy so far. Okay, so another decent board for him. We check. Don't think we do any leading here. He goes for a small bet. Okay, so now we need to decide, are we calling or are we raising? Like, folding's out of the question. We're not going to jam. It's not a spot. I mean, it just seems like overkill to jam. Our top pair is reasonably strong, and we can still get value from a lot of hands. Like, he still has to call with a 10. He has to call with probably with a 4. He has to call probably with a decent number of under pairs as well. Just trying to think that through. He also calls with like hands like ace king, ace queen, king queen, queen 9, 9 8, all of those kind of things. So I think that our hand is strong enough to raise. We also completely unblock the backdoor flush draws. I'm trying to think if he would actually float the flop with a hand like, I don't know, ace 9 of clubs, ace 9 of diamonds, ace 9 of spades, something like that. But I'm going to go for the raise. I think at this stack depth, and especially button versus big blind in the first place, top pair is a very strong hand, and yeah, I'm going to go for it. Cool. Okay, so it raises a lot of the time. He does call, and now we're going to have some interesting spots. So I think I'm not sure that we check raise 9-8 on this flop. I think we just go for a call. So that card doesn't really help us too much, and it really, really hurts our Jack X hands that we raised for value. Plus, like the kind of hands that we just talked about, ace king, king queen, ace queen, just getting there, basically. I just read a comment on YouTube. Do we raise fold the Jack 9? No, we would never fold. 20 big blinds deep, we would never fold the top pair. So I think as we've got 2 options, we can block or we can jam. If we jam, what are we getting called by that's worse? 10x of spades doesn't fold. He can float the flop with king. No, I was going to say king 9, but that's a straight. Struggling a little bit. Jack X, does he call with like Jack 8 maybe? Let's just we're going to cheat and have a quick look at his opening range. So there's some weaker Jack X hands in here, especially like Jack X of spades that we can potentially get value from. I think it's close. I honestly, again, I'm a little bit stumped. I'm going to throw it over to you guys. What do you guys reckon? Do you think we block, do we jam, or do we check? And I'll go with whatever you decide. Okay, so we've got quite a few votes for check. Okay, so we'll probably go for that then. Let's try that. Yeah, quite a few votes for check, and then we've got, I think I would block and fold to a shove. Yeah. Okay, we've got another vote for block. Terrible card for our range, good for his floats. Yeah. This is an excellent hand. So yeah, I'm going to go for the check. Do you risk getting raised off the hand if you bet? Potentially, if we bet and he jams, do we even get to fold with a pair and a draw? That's the question. We've got another vote for block. I feel like the queen hits so hard and we can get away. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go for a check, and we'll see whether we made a mistake. Oh, we didn't. Check 97%. So everyone who said check there, congratulations. That's what the solver likes. So now I think we just have a very easy call, pair plus draw. I don't think raising or jamming here makes any sense at all. So just go for the call and then play some rivers. Whoa, okay. So we were completely wrong. What's going on here? Raise 13 bigs here, or jam. Okay. I'm shocked. We're not losing too much EV by going for a call, and it is calling 22% of the time, but actually wants to jam. This is definitely one we want to take a deeper look at. So as played, then we did go for the call, and I think we just have a check on the river and a nasty decision when he jams, probably. Yeah. Okay. So what is he bluffing? It's the kind of hands that I would expect to bluff here, from his point of view, is like the floats from the flop. What I don't know though, and I can't think about it at the moment, is does he float the flop when we check raise with a hand like ace x of spades, diamonds and clubs? Because if he does, then he's just got a ton of bluffs here, and I think we have to call. Now I think overall we probably have to call anyway. We block king 9, we block 9-8, we have a decent top pair. What's the worst hand he value bets? Like, I don't think he can value bet the hand. Can he value bet ace jack? Potentially. This is it's an interesting one. Okay, I'm gonna go for the call on the river. I'm gonna hero it, but if I get it wrong, it's probably because he's not floating the flop with all of those bluffs that I just mentioned. So yeah, I mean, but what does our range look like to him, right? So we check raise the flop. We have a lot of jack X for check raising the flop, and I guess I don't know, occasionally check raise some weaker hands like a 4, like 5-4 with a backdoor flush draw, maybe something like that. But yeah, one of you just said call with hearts, probably. Yeah, because we just completely unblock those floats. Like he's gonna have, I mean, he's just think ace king, ace queen, king queen, queen jack, queen 10. Like there is queen 9, I think, can value jam here. Queen 8 can probably value jam as well. There's a lot of hands. I might be talking myself into a fold here now, just because I'm really not sure about whether he is supposed to float those backdoor flush draw type hands. He probably is. Okay, I'm going to throw it over to you guys, because I'm going to go back and forth on this. What are you going for, call or fold river? Okay, you guys going for... I started with a fold. Okay, we've got a few more votes for fold. Okay, so let's we've got I call but I'm a station. Okay. Okay, so let's go for the fold. I wouldn't be surprised though if we're supposed to call here. Oh, it is a fold. Look at that. And I mean, again, don't go like, oh, what a sick fold. He had ace king, knew it. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting hand. I'm going to make a quick note to come back to this hand, because there's so much to look at in the main thing was like, how on earth do we get to jam turn? That's the biggest one. Blind for blind on Twitch. We should make a poll for the decisions like this. Is there an easy way for me to do that? That would be amazing if I could just do a really quick, like literally just type in poll. Oh, there's a manage poll button here, I can see. We just see what happens. Yeah, I suppose it's just going to take a little bit too long to set it up, but it's a nice idea. I think that'd be good for the future if I can get it set up, or get a mod involved. Okay, question on YouTube: is this simple or snowy? This is Simple GTO Trainer. Cool. So we talked ourselves out of a fold. To be fair, in game, I probably would have called because I didn't. I wouldn't have had long enough to process that. So anyone said call, like, don't blame you for that. Okay, so we flop a gut shot here. I think he's going to go half pot a lot on an ace high board. So can we call with just a gut shot? I feel like we need to have like 5x of spades, diamonds, or clubs to call here. So I'm going to go for folding. Just seems way too weak. But I mean, we don't have too many ace-x hands in our range. Got some suited aces here, but a lot of offsuit ace-x is gone. Plus he's got all of those. That's why he gets to bet half pot very often here, button versus big blind. Shout out to One Punch Man for the follow. Okay, so I think we do versus this sizing need to have a backdoor flush draw, so I'm going to fold, and if that's incorrect, then at least we learn something. Okay, cool. Again, we're not losing too much. All of these like little mistakes, I mean, they will add up, but it's not a massive mistake here. So yeah, I feel like we probably should still call though. Okay, we should have a pretty easy decision here. Very high frequency c-bet for imposition, and we just have a fold. Okay, queen 7-5. Don't think there's much leading on here, so we're going to check. We have a gut shot, backdoor flush draw. Okay, and he goes for half pot. So yeah, this time, given that we have a gut shot, just like we did in the last one, but we also have a spade, I don't want to fold. I can't see there being any raises. I really don't want to raise here and then get jammed on, and I mean, I don't think we're getting a great price to call it off. So yeah, I think call has got to be the way here. Okay, cool. Call 99%. Ace of spades on the turn. So, I mean, that has to be a pretty amazing card for him, like an ace in general. Because versus half pot, when the ace-x hands that we're really continuing with is going to be ace-x of spades to begin with. And then maybe like ace-x with the ace of spades, right? So now that that's out, we can have some flushes here, but we also have like a 7 and a 5 a lot. We have hands like this, so I expect to see some aggressive play here. Now what I'd be interested to know is if he goes for the bet, can we jam this hand as a bluff? He does go for a sort of down bet now on the kind of a down bet. I mean, it's the same size, but smaller based on the sort of the percentage of the pot. Question then on YouTube: are these solutions you've input into Simple GTO Trainer or using a pack? So these are my sims that I ran for me to use, and I've shared them with some students. They if they want to do the same thing. I did say right at the start, guys. I don't want this to be a plug for the software, but if you do want the software, you can get 10% off by going to the channel and clicking on their button. And so I'm just going to go for a call here. I don't think we get to jam. Maybe we get to jam like, I don't know, naked king of spades X hands or something like that. I just think this is a very good card for him. So, okay, cool. So see a call. Do we get to bluff any rivers? Well, we're going to check this one and probably just check fold. Okay, cool. Check, check. Nice. So, looks good. Okay, another fantastic board for imposition. We just don't have any strong hands on this board. I mean, I guess we can have ace-9 and king. No, let's just confirm this. No, we don't have any ace-9. Just king. We can have king-9 and then ace-x. Don't get to call here. Have to fold. Looks good. Okay, straight draw and backdoor flush draw. Again, a really good board for him, I think. So we check and expect to see a bet a lot of the time. So this is a good one. I think our options are between calling and raising to 4.5 bigs. We can get some better hands to fold straight away. It's also just such an amazing price to continue. There's, we can continue on a lot of turn cards. So, yeah, I think this is close. Let's throw it out to you guys. Don't know if blind for blind you can do a poll for this. Yeah, whether we call or raise flop. What do you guys reckon? Okay, looks like it didn't work for the poll. Maybe I have to do that, or maybe I can set blind for blind up as a mod for the next one. Let's see if I can just do that. Okay, so we'll try that next time. So we've got a few votes for raise, few votes for call. We've got a few votes for raise call, pure call, release that equity, my good man. Pure call, I think, feel like he has more of that flop than we do. I mean, yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah. All right, well, let's go for the call and see what happens. Cool. Yeah, 99% call. I think it's pretty clear cut that. So yeah, not any raising. Okay, I'm gonna go for a check on this card, and depends how big he bets. So he goes for this small bet again. So like it's like third pot ish. Maybe a bit more. Okay. I mean, really are just drawing to 6 clean outs, I guess. If we do improve on like a king of spades at 8 of spades, I mean, we still have to call it off. You can't. I don't think you get to fold a straight on the river if we get there. So I think this is probably a lot closer. Like, you know, if he bets big here, I think it's a really easy decision. I think we just fold. But versus this small bet, I think that we should probably also fold, just because of the nature of the exact turn card as well. Obviously, we would continue with like 10x of spades, like king x of spades as well, just something with a little bit more equity. So I'm going to go for a fold, but again, like this could be one of those spots where it's a mistake. Okay, nope, that looks like a good fold to me. Move on to the next one. So no massive blunders just yet. I mean, I guess it's probably because we haven't seen too many turns and rivers. But yeah, if we do get to that point, like when we do, that's where we're gonna, you know, it's where everybody I think loses the most EV. So you know, it's pretty tough to lose too much EV on the flop by playing pretty well, and then turns and rivers just become, you know, a bit more complicated. Okay, so Ed on YouTube, shouldn't he be betting big on that turn? So maybe he is weak, so maybe we should be raising. Don't know. I think the card is such a great card for him that he can bet small and get us to fold a lot of hands. So, like, yeah, I don't think it's a big bet spot. Not when the board is like connected as well like that, and like big cards at the top. I think it's just such a great card for him. He gets to bet small, he gets us to fold better hands, and yeah. And you can see he bets small with king 6 of hearts there, so it's something that the solver's doing. We're going to go for a check. Again, a good board for him. He goes for half pot probably. Yeah. Okay, so I would prefer to have the 6 of spades here, but I think if we folded this hand, we would be way over folding. So we're going to go for a call. Okay, so Libertine89 on YouTube said, it's quite interesting that solvers have so many flop calls, turn folds versus small c bets. Such an uncomfortable thing for humans to do. Yeah, I guess it is. Iker on Twitch saying, hey, Gareth. Hey, Iker, welcome back to the stream. But yeah, it's a very good point. I think that's why I like using this software to become like try and play a bit closer to what the solver's doing. I mean, you know, I don't think I'll ever get to the point when I'm playing exactly like it, but trying to get closer every single day, I think is good. And also, it kind of like removes that emotional element, right? So like when I first started using this software, it's what I was talking about earlier about seeing the result. So like I think this is a very uncomfortable spot again with this hand, And let's say I folded here and he shows like king six of hearts again or something like that. And you know, and the same thing could happen in game where you fold this hand and he actually turns his hand over and you see king six of hearts. When that first happens, or whether you're using this software where it happens in game, like you're kicking yourself because you folded the best hand, right? Because you're looking at it too like black and white, right? This is the hand you have. He had a worse hand. He got you to fold. Yeah, you suck, right? But that's just not how we should be approaching these spots. So like we need to remove that emotion if we can. So yeah, here I think again it's a pretty tough spot. I just think that this time we're going to be over folding again. I think if we let this hand go, he's only about half pot as well, just under half pot. So yeah, I think we have to call turn. I think if he goes bigger, we can start folding. If he goes smaller, we definitely call. So let's go for the call and see what happens. Cool, yeah, call 99%. I think we can probably start letting go of 3x. Okay, so I'm going to check river. I don't think we lead this card. I don't think it makes sense. And but yeah, something that I see quite commonly is for people to river 2 pair and then just to donk jam it. Like I just think that's a massive mistake. So we check, and he checks back. Okay. And he ends up having queen jack of hearts. So again, like if you perhaps are a newer poker player, more of a beginning poker player, you might look at this and think, you missed value. You know, you should have donk jammed the river. But we're not focusing on what his exact hand is, right? We want to think about his range. And this run out, I think, yeah, he's gonna have some bluffs, and we have a great hand to bluff catch. He can also value bet worse, right? So we can check and get him to value bet worse. Like some ace-x, maybe even all ace-x get to triple barrel here. So yeah, I think it's the way to go. Question on YouTube: can you filter to see the equity boundaries for the different actions? Where is the lowest hand we can raise, etc.? So what you can do, there is this button here. You can click Pio and you can see what you're supposed to do, like the strategy on every single branch of the game tree or every decision point. So we are going to do that. We'll probably do that in a few minutes, actually. I was really expecting, honestly, guys, to make some massive blunders, some really big mistakes, but I mean, some of the decisions are very simple. Like we just don't have anything we have to fold, and we're playing out of position in this spot where button is going to be betting fairly frequently on a lot of the boards we've seen so far. So, you know, if we fold the flop, we don't get to see turns and rivers, where I think we're probably, or certainly I am, going to make more mistakes than on the flop. As I said earlier, like it's pretty tough to make too many mistakes on the flop. Here I'm just going to fold. We have nothing. Okay, 6 deuce deuce. Low-ish. Well, it is a low board, but it's a paired board. I don't think there's any leading here. I think we want to have like a 5-4-3, 6-4-3, like low connected board for us to do some leading. So I think this is probably just check fold. Okay, wow. This is, again, a little bit of an EV loss, but you can see that actually wants us to call here. I guess it's because he bets so small, right? Bets like a min bet or 20% pot. So that's a clear like leak for me. Like, okay, we're not leaking too much EV, and as I said, like it's difficult to make too big of a mistake. But you can see that if I'm folding here all the time, then it's very easy for in position to see bet small very, very often. Whereas I think the way the solver is going to play is not to bet this board like for a small size 100% of the time. It will be a small bet, but given that we have more deuce X, like we would have defended king deuce, queen deuce, jack deuce probably. So I don't think he gets to just range bet this full frequency for a small size. So, but yeah, interesting that I'm supposed to call here. Let's just do a couple more and we'll see if we can unpack some of the stuff within Pio. Okay, another paired board, so you might see some more checkbacks here. Okay, nope, it goes for a small bet this time. And okay, now, I mean, bearing in mind that we're supposed to defend 9-7 off on a 6 deuce deuce rainbow board. Okay, I know that we have some backdoor straight draws. But, yeah. I don't think we get to fold an ace on this board. So I'm going to call, but I could be wrong. Okay, nope. I am right. 5 of spades then. Going to go for a check. Goes check, check. Could still just have the best hand now. And now the 5 of hearts on the river. So this is, yeah, this, I mean, this is definitely a spot where, like, I'm not, again, not 100% sure. I guess we just have enough showdown value to check. We chop a lot. And I think checking is going to make more than betting. Like, if we bet, what are we trying to get to fold? So, yeah, I think, I mean, maybe we get to bluff with, like, an ace or a 7 of spades in this spot. I'm just going to go for a check, see what happens. Yeah, okay, check, looks good. Jack Rag said raise. I don't think we want to raise flop. I think we just have a call. Maybe we do get to raise again with like a7 with a spade in our hands, but I don't think this hand would do that. Okay, so versus the pot on the river, we might check a 6 and a 5 on the river. We're gonna have some Jack X to call, and we're gonna have flushes, obviously. Then we get to ace high. And again, I'm going to say we have to fold versus this size. So yeah, let's go with that and see what it says. Okay, cool. All right, so let's end it there. I mean, we can go through this hand as the first one we look at, even though we didn't lose much EV. But I think the flop is interesting to just have a look. So versus the small bet. Okay, cool. So this is what I was saying about potentially raising with ace7 with a spade, right? And you can see the ace of spades is just a great hand to start bluff raising here. Now, the most amazing thing I think on these paired boards, especially when the paired board is the low card, like Jack 6-6 as opposed to Jack 6, is that we just look at how much raising we're supposed to do versus a small bet, 40%. Now, I'm yet to see players in low and mid stakes MTTs pulling off these check raises. So, but that doesn't mean that you can't, and it doesn't mean that you can, not play like really aggressively and really well and be really tough to play against. But I just think it's something just to point out that population is not playing like this yet. But amazing to see. Ace7 off. We just have an easy call, and yeah, we don't fold any ace. I think I said that as we went through. It was the 5 of spades on the turn. It went check, check, and then a 5 of hearts, I think, on the river. So we can jam for well over 2x pot with some flushes, with some bluffs, like king 10 off with the king of spades, a6 off with the ace of spades, and then we do quite a lot of blocking with the jack. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of blocking with the jack in that spot, and then some other bluffs as well. And we check, and he bets big. So I think I said I want to call with a7 with a spade and fold without. So let's have a look. And yeah, it looks like that's what's going on pretty much. A7 off with the 7 of spades. You can see there's not a lot of ace of spades 7x here because we would raise it on the flop, right? We don't go for the call. Question. EV, is that in big blinds? Let's go back, have a quick look. Is that in big blinds? I don't think it is. I think it's in chips, but it's a good question. And I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to give you duff information here because obviously if that's in big blinds like that, that is quite a lot. But I don't, maybe it is. I don't think it is, but it's a really good question, and yeah, that's something I'm going to try and find out for you guys. And when we do another one of these, hopefully I'll have an answer for you. But yeah, great question. Okay, cool. So I just wanted to give you an example of how I study. Let's go back to this Queen 10 hand. I don't know if you guys remember it. So we checked, he checked back, and then it wanted us to lead the turn here. So let's see what's going on. So check, and a little bit of checking here. He has pocket fives, and what card was it? Jack of hearts. Okay, so there's yeah, quite a lot of leading in here. Shout out to DJ Bobby for the follow. So yeah, I think this is pretty interesting, and so I think I said when we were looking at it, okay, it wants us to bet, like what are we trying to get to fold? Is it ace X, king X, stuff like that? And yeah, it looks like king X is a big one, and some ace X hands as well. Yeah, some sort of the lower ace X hands that are better than our hand straight away. And yeah, we can improve, I guess, to to a pair on the turn with these cards as well. It looks like we're value betting a 6, 2, and then a jack as well. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's going for the slightly smaller bet. It's like half pot-ish, I think, with 2 with the boat, and then value betting a 6 quite a lot of the time. Sebastian on Twitch, what is this software? So this one is PioSolver, but the other one is Simple GTO Trainer. So I'm using Simple GTO Trainer with Pio to run some spots, which is button versus big blind for 20 big blinds. So we were in the big blind, and we wanted to look at what we're supposed to do. Okay, so it did go check, I think. Let's go back and have a look. Yeah, we went check, and then the river with the 7 of clubs, and oh no, yeah, because I was thinking that maybe we're supposed to go for a bluff. Let's see, 1 second. Lost the sim. Check, 7 of clubs. Do we bluff this hand? Let's have a look. We do not. Like, and I think I said this as well, that we just have a lot of these, like, well, I basically rattled off all of the other hands, right? Like, 10 high, 9 high, 8 high, 5 high, 4 high, that kind of stuff. So if we are betting this hand, like, we're just, we've got all these green hands that are, what are we really trying to achieve with a bet? So yeah, we can get a lot of better hands to fold by betting these hands down here. The other thing that I asked during that, like, I was basically thinking out loud, like trying to ask myself questions like, what's the weakest hand we can value bet? Like, can we value bet a 2 here? I said we could value bet a 6. We're supposed to be betting a 6 a lot on the turn. But you can see that a lot of 2x is getting bet here for half pot. And then a 7 is getting bet for full pot. So yeah, we can value bet 2 here, which I think is really, really good. And I would say that most people, certainly that I work with, I think, I would say population probably, just not finding thin enough value bets on the river, right? Betting the 2 on the river. Maybe I'll just open it up to you guys. Like, would you find the value bet with a 2 there? Sebastian on Twitch, thank you. Is it similar to DTO? Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's just the thing that I like about Simple GTO Trainer over DTO is that you can press that little Pio button or Simple Post Flop, depending on which software you use, and it will immediately bring up the solution, right? So you can actually start to visualize what the range looks like. Shout out to Astronomical Odds. So yeah, I don't think DTO does that yet. I don't know if maybe they have plans to do that, but yeah, that's why I prefer Simple GTO Trainer, because you get to pull up the Pio sim and see exactly what's going on. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't look like anyone's really pulling out the value bet here with a deuce, but I think we can. I went with a 6, but yeah, I think we need to go even thinner, so that's good. And I think that's the end of this. I mean, I guess he goes for this 220 bet, and then we have to start thinking about calling with some king highs in this spot. Otherwise, we're just way over folding. We're going to have some 7x to call, a little bit of 2x, but then we get to like king high. I mean, ace high always calls. But yeah, that's really interesting. Very cool hand. Right, let's go back to Simple GTO Trainer and see. Okay, yeah, this was a really interesting one where it said it wanted us to call on the turn, I think. So we'll do this hand and we'll do the Jack 9 of hearts because there was some funky, a funky check jam on the turn. Sebastian, what percentage would be bet with the 2, like 30%? It was half pot, so we're not blocking with the 2 there. Let's go back. So you can see, actually no, hang on a minute. Some of the 2x we are going for a block, so like 20% pot. But most often, yeah, actually, yeah, probably more blocking than I just said there. So yeah, it looks like a 2 is going for a block, apart from 7 deuce. I mean, that's a 7, not a deuce, really. 6 deuce, again, it's a 6, not a deuce. Yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm gonna sort of go back and say it's mainly blocking, and then some half pot betting going on as well. Okay, yeah. So we'll do this one and the funky Jack 9, and then we'll wrap things up, guys. So yeah, the key thing here, the hand went like this, just in case you guys, anyone missed it. All of this is button versus big blinds. So he c-bets small, we go for a call. Turn is the 9 of hearts, we check, and he goes for a big bet, and I folded, and we lost a little bit here. So we want to see what's going on. So let's hit Pio. Okay, so we don't fold any 10 here. Let's have a look at 5x. We don't fold any 5x. I mean, it's such a small bet, you just really can't. Go for the call, and the turn was 9 of hearts. Okay, yeah, 9 of hearts. We go for a check, and he goes for big bet. And okay, so really something that I just realized that I'd never seen before. I'll just show you this in Pio in case you guys use this. Is there's this little button here. So if you click on configuration and then data presentation, you can show the strategy as percentages rather than fractions. Now, since I got Pio, which was several years ago, I've been doing it in fractions, or what they call fractions, which is just decimals, really, like 0.9 and stuff like that. So for example, let's hover over our 10-4 of clubs. It would have call would be 0.248 and fold would be 0.749, right? That kind of thing. So as soon as I changed it to percentages, I was thinking, wow, this is just so much easier to think about. So that's just a little thing to show you there. I wouldn't even call it a hack because it's just a function within the software that I didn't even know about. Okay, so yeah, so it looks like we need to call about a quarter of the time then on the turn. And in terms of EV, yeah, it's not a huge amount. So this is going back to the question earlier on. Is it big blinds? And the reason I said like I don't think it is, but it looks like it is in the program. It says like difference in big blinds. I'll just show you this, and I think one of you just came in. I think Luck Be a Lady had a good comment about the diff EV big blind here. So it says 0.257, right? But if we go to the sim and look at the strategy in EV, so it's 0.257, right? But the chips like is set up so that there's, this would be 12.86 bigs, right? But it's 1,286 chips. So this number isn't working in big blind. So it's only 0.3 chips. So this just makes me think that we're really not losing that much in this spot. So I'm fairly confident that it's not displaying in big blinds, that EV loss, because of this reason. It's kind of just pulling this number and using that as the number, which is I guess not that useful, but yeah. The thing is as well, like once you finish the session, you can bring up your overall like loss in EV, like how far you were away from where you need to be. And I think that's very often correct, as in terms of big blind per 100 and stuff. Okay, so yeah, just calling about a quarter of the time then for a little bit of a gain. But I guess if you ever believe your opponent is not pulling out enough bluffs in this spot, then you could fold. But we are going to get into a little bit of circular thinking, because obviously we don't think that our opponent is going to bluff enough on this turn, so we end up overfolding. Then they think, well, the big blind's probably not going to think that we're going to find enough bluffs here, so we should start bluffing even more. then we know that they know that we would overfold if they bluffed more, so they end up bluffing less, or maybe bluffing the right amount, and so that we end up having to call a 10 more frequently. So we are, yeah, so as soon as you like go into one mode, like you end up going round and round in circles. So I would say like be careful with that. It looks like just call a little bit of the time. The EV is not great, but yeah, I think that it's worth thinking about, like making sure that you're not, making sure that you're developing a really solid strategy for these spots. Okay. Right then, finally, let's look at this amazing Jack 9 of hearts hand, because, yep, I got this wrong on the turn. So, villain bets, we go for a raise, and it's raising a lot of the time here for value. Villain calls, turn is a queen. Now, obviously, you have to remember that we didn't play this knowing that he had ace king of diamonds. So, obviously, if we did know that, then we would just 100% fold the turn. But we don't know that. We were trying to look at like what kind of hands he floats the flop with, what's his value bets, what's he bluffing, that kind of thing. So anyway, so we get to the turn and it wants us to check 100%. So far we've got it right. We've check raised the flop and we've checked the turn. The villain then goes for this small bet and I go for a call, which I thought was reasonable with a pair and a draw. But it actually wants us to jam on this turn. So I'm really confused as to what's going on here. We did call, river was the 2 of hearts, we check, and villain jams, and I almost talked myself into a hero call on this river, blocking 9-8, king 9, queen jack, jacks, jack 10, maybe. I really don't know what the thinnest value hand he could have here. Like I'm not sure if ace jack can value bet river. So loads of questions to answer. So let's do that. So click on this Pio button, brings it straight up, go for a raise. Sorry, he bets small, and you can see that we're always raising jack 9. So we go for a raise, and there's a little bit of jamming as well in there as well. We raise. There was a question earlier on, I think it was Ed on YouTube said, are we raise folding? So let's, I said absolutely not, like, 20 big blinds deep, we can't do that. He jams, and you can see that any jack that we have here, we have to call, and looks like any 4 as well, which is, and a 10. Let's have a look. I think we talked about raising. I said like maybe 5-4 was a bluff here, but you can see that it's definitely not. Looks like 9-4 and queen 4. So bottom pair, blocking a set. Although I think he jams 4s pre, right? Yeah, okay, so that's not a thing. Let's go back here. So we have, block, well, not a lot, but we can improve to a straight draw on the turn, I guess, with these, with a 9 and a queen. Seems to be either side of the jack and the 10. I'm just trying to find some patterns here, guys. Not always possible. Like I often say to my Game Changer group, I wish the solver came like and just said to you, right, it's raising here because of this, and then we could understand it a bit more. But it's sadly it doesn't do that. You've got to use your brain and try and work it out, and then start articulating your thought process. And the thing is that I'll come up with these ideas, and then you might have another idea, and you say, oh no, actually I think it's because of this. Like, I don't know, we block more of his continues when we have this hand, and we unblock his folds. And I say, oh, actually, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, maybe it's that, or maybe it's both, right? So it's important to come up with some ideas and talk to each other about them. So we did raise, and we wouldn't fold versus a jam. He calls, and then it was a queen of something, queen of spades, and we do a huge amount of checking. So I think this requires us to pull up the old equity comparison table, because we want to see. So again, I think I said this, but really, I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter if I did or didn't. The big cards are not going to be so good for us. They really hurt us when we have top pair, and he's going to have a decent number of, especially on a queen, like having ace king, king queen, ace queen, stuff like that. But the same goes for all of these cards in here, plus a 10 as well. I guess the 10's not so good because we don't check raise too many 10x, but he is going to bet call all of his 10x, right? So when he bets, he range bets the flop, and when we raise, he never folds a 10. So he has a ton more 10x than we do. Our raising range is like jack x and 4x and some bluffs and stuff. Okay, So yeah, not a very good card for us. Strategy wise, yeah, okay. So this is great to see as well. That the bad cards for us, we do a lot of checking, and the good cards for us, we basically just jam a lot. So that's good to see. We did go for the check, and he has ace king and goes for this small bet, and now it wants jack 9 of hearts specifically to go for a jam. So is this bluffing? Is it value betting? Is it some sort of merge? It can't be value betting. We don't get called by enough worse, but occasionally, I mean, we never get better to fold, but we can get worse to call, I guess. We can get some 10x of spades, weaker jack x of spade hands to call. We go for the raise. You can see some jack x hands start to fold, apart from jack x of spades, and I think this is really interesting. Okay, we get a bit of value from 10-9. Some jack x of spades, as I already mentioned. Interesting. I mean, maybe we're just trying to deny it against these hands. Let's go back to the flop, because I wanted to see, one of the questions I had was, is he supposed to be floating the flop with those backdoor flushers like ace 9 of clubs, diamonds, or spades? Okay, yeah, he is. Okay, cool. That's good. That's good. Okay, cool. So I wonder if those hands, do they do much betting? There's a little bit of betting with ace 9, ace 7 for sure. I don't know. Is it like, I'm just trying to work out, is the solver just doing this because it's trying to deny equity to these hands? I mean, 9x has got reasonable amount of equity. You get it in against ace 10 of spades, so that's reasonable, and jack 8 of spades as well. 10-8 of spades. I think this is an interesting one. Let me give you a chance to give your thoughts in the chat, guys, because yeah, I'm perhaps struggling to try and work out what's going on here. So Sebastian on Twitch said, yeah, I think he's only jamming to deny equity there. Yeah, so just like versus these ace-x hands, and obviously we're in terrible shape against a lot of these hands. So it's really confusing. What a great hand to leave you on. I need to go and think about it some more. Maybe you do as well. That's going to wrap things up for this session. It was a little bit different. I decided to fire up Simple GTO Trainer and play some hands, and I gave you my thought process throughout these hands. I think it's a great tool, and yeah, just give me some feedback, guys, in the chat, whether you like this, whether you want to see this again. We can do other spots. We can do out of position as a pre-flop raiser. We could do some 3-bet pots. We could do in position versus the big blind. We could do in position versus the small blind. That might be quite a fun one to do. Just very different from playing against the big blind. So yeah, just give me your thoughts in the chat on that. If you haven't done so already and you're watching on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't done so already, hit subscribe. But also maybe go over to Twitch and hit follow. And also, if you're watching on Twitch, go over to the YouTube and check out the YouTube channel, where these replays will go up a few days afterwards, like maybe the next week. I've got a highlights video coming tomorrow. If you missed the stream on Sunday, we did an epic 9-hour stream, 2 final tables. I won't tell you what happened because you'll have to watch the highlights if you weren't here. Godman, thanks for the follow. But yeah, 2 final tables. We final tabled the Hodder 27 and the 109 Sunday starter. So if you want to see what happened, there's a premiere on YouTube tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So it's youtube.com/MTTPOKERSCHOOL. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. Oh, and we do have a Black Friday sale that started today. if you're not signed up to the mailing list, go over to mttpokerschool.com, sign up for the mailing list, because I will be sending some reminders about that sale. And if you want the link to the premium training content and products that I've got, then you need to be a subscriber to get that link. But I think I will also share that link on Sunday's stream as well. We're going to do another play and explain and play a off-peak Sunday session. So that is it, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to read the comments once I've signed off. Take care, and I'll see you on Sunday. Cheers.